Alright, this is CIS-332 Day 2. This would have been 1/23/17. Database and SQL. We started talking about data, how we store data, we convert data into information, and that's done using software. In our case, it's going to be a database management system. The data can be broken down into bits, binary digits, ones and zeros, for example, using the ASCII code. That is a capital A. Got it written right there. Take bits, put them together, we can get a byte of information, for example, like somebody's name or some numeric or whatever. And then we talked about data that's static, that stays the same, and then data that adjusts. We start talking about tables. We used Redbox as an example of data stored on each person that rents. That's pretty static, and then there's probably a table that keeps track of what people have rented. That would be pretty dynamic. It would change all the time. Accesses to databases. The first one we're going to use is work server 1, and the addressing is there. We talked a little bit about a relational database and tables. We got 3 tables here. An example, we have an ID number. We're using Redbox, an example. We have somebody's name, their email. Sometimes emails are used as ID numbers, or a lot, because they're unique. Then I think we call this movie ID, so we have a table with movies, and we have their attributes, all the things about the movies. And so that is considered a primary key. We have some type of primary key here. We can take those keys and put them in another table, and then they're foreign keys. And maybe this table keeps track of what's being rented. There is a relationship. I actually call this an entity. Relationship. That's why they call it a relational database. We talked about nowadays these databases can sit out here in websites, and then we can use a browser to access the information. We do that a lot, right? We can come in from an internet service provider and we can access the database. We talked about, for example, you can be at home and you can come in and access some information on campus. May be able to get to a server here, or you're from home and you come into Canvas and get your information and come back. Canvas is a huge database that organizes our information. Okay. And we talked a little bit about that. You have your data stored out here on some type of server. You can allow somebody in to your DMZ, query for the information, and then it would go down to the server, get the data, bring it back up, and then send it back out to whoever. For example, you're at home and you come in, query for information, the information comes up and goes back here. And this has become extremely popular, using the World Wide Web and browser and software and HTML to design these web pages and then have them access the data off of a database. Why use these databases that we're going to learn about? They allow us access to the data, tends to keep it more accurate. You can manage the data, and hopefully we can secure it better. Who uses? We have users, people coming in and out. We have a database manager that manages the actual database. You guys would be in that realm by the time the students get done. We have a database administrator who would administrate the whole thing, and they would see to CIO, Chief Information Officer. And then we also have programmers that work at various levels. Okay, everything from writing what it looks like from the user view to actually how the data is being managed and so forth. Alright, that's it for day 2.